Hey, lovely viewers, welcome to our channel, Grey's Anatomy Official. Your official Grey's Anatomy recap, Season 22, Episode 5. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. As our omnipotent overlord Meredith Grey informs us in this week's voiceover, there's always one patient who can change everything for a doctor. Someone who leaves them with a change in perspective, or with whom they have a powerful emotional connection. And based on Simone's, Quan's, and Joe's experiences in Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child, Mare is proved correct. Isn't she always? Simone's taking a ride on a real roller coaster of emotions this episode. What a way to end a shift, huh? Simone is almost ready to wrap things up and hand off her patients to Lucas. But when Lucas is late, Aunt Amelia is in Boston, apparently, so there's no one to kick him out the door. Weber assigns Simone to do the workup on recently transferred patient Regina Evans. Regina is suffering from congestive heart failure, renal failure, and hospital-acquired pneumonia. Simone is annoyed at first by her ex's tardiness, but that all changes when she notices a personal photo Regina has set up around the room, a photo of Simone's own mother, Denise. Simone is obviously taken aback. Not only is she meeting someone who knew her mother better than almost anyone, but Regina, also pretty shocked to be face-to-face with her best friend's daughter, starts telling her stories of their crazy, rebellious teenage years. We're talking sneaking pot into a Tribe Called Quest concerts and staying out all night, only to receive some serious lectures from Mama Joyce, Simone's granny. Simone is overwhelmed with conflicting emotions. Her father always described her mother as a serious, straight-A student, and now she's learning that wasn't the full story. It's as if she's getting to know her mother for the very first time. As is tradition at Grey Sloan Memorial, the situation with Regina gets much more complicated. She has an aneurysm. It's not emergent. They schedule surgery to remove it the next day, but it is concerning. Still, the wait gives Simone and Regina more time to chat, and before long, Simone confesses that she and her sister aren't close because Ebony blames her for their mother's death. Simone blames herself too, telling Regina she made her mother a statistic. Regina rejects all of this, of course. It wasn't Simone's fault, but she understands the weight of that guilt. She's been carrying it around too. Toward the end of Denise's pregnancy, Regina got a dream offer to study at a prestigious culinary institute in Paris. She was going to wait until after Denise gave birth, but Denise told her to go. Regina feels that if she had been there, maybe she would have pushed harder for the doctors to pay attention to what was happening. She begs Simone to let her carry that burden of guilt and to go live her life to the fullest. It's what her mother would have wanted. Just as they are having this emotional breakthrough, Regina's oxygen drops. She codes, and as hard as Simone and Lucas fight to bring her back, there is nothing they can do. Regina dies, leaving Simone devastated. If we're looking for any sort of silver lining to Simone's wild and emotional few hours, it could be that seeing how hurt Simone is after losing Regina, and how overwhelmed she is after so many of her mommy issues are stirred up, Lucas remembers that despite their breakup, he still cares about her. He takes some time off from his brutathon to offer her a ride home. She declines, but the fact that he offers, that he has softened his steely post-breakup feelings, is a sign that maybe these two can find a way to get along again. Quan's doing house calls now. If there's one thing we know that will stand the test of time with this generation's batch of young Grey's Anatomy residents, it is that Benson Quan will forever and always have a soft spot for single moms. We mean that in an empathetic, typically medical-related way, or maybe not. You never know. That is what happens when, during a shift at the clinic, he realizes that a patient, Mercedes Hernandez, has been a no-show at multiple appointments, and this time she hasn't bothered to even call and reschedule. Mercedes, who has PCOS and diabetes, has also missed her prescription refill, and without keeping her blood sugar in check, she's at risk for a whole lot of complications. Something about it just doesn't sit right with Quan, and as the clinic closes down for the night, he decides to make a little house call and brings Jules, who really just needed a ride home after a long day, along for the ride. Quan has a spidey sense that lets him know when single moms are in trouble. When he and Jules arrive at Mercedes' house, she can't even get up from her couch, and her mother and young son Javi are scared. When Quan sees that not only does she need an insulin shot, but that she also has a nasty diabetic infection on her foot that has made one of her toes necrotic to the point that it falls off when touched, he wants to get her to the hospital before she loses her whole leg. Mercedes refuses. She's heard there are ICE agents waiting around the hospital, she's had a cousin taken off the street, and she has no idea where they've put him. Her status was revoked just a few months ago, and now she's terrified that she'll disappear too. She is so scared. She won't leave her house even if it means putting her life at risk. It is infuriating. Quan calls for backup, and Bailey arrives with a fully stocked ambulance so that they can treat Mercedes right outside of her house. Bailey and Quan are able to save Mercedes' foot and make her promise to have someone pick up her meds from now on. But just because there's a happy ending medically speaking, it doesn't mean Bailey isn't upset. She's angry that this is the current state of things, in which people are going to die because they are living in fear that they'll be ripped away from their families. It's cruel, she says. It's inhumane. She's also not just a little bit annoyed that Quan and Jules went rogue with a patient. She's proud of them for going above and beyond, but reminds them this is a fireable offense, if she wanted it to be. For now, it'll just be a warning with a big ol' thank you attached. Bailey. Always with the salty and the sweet. Hey, on the less life-threatening end of things, Jules winds up spending a lot of time with Mercedes' young son Javi and his velociraptors, Benito and Josh. Javi, like many kids in his situation, is scared every day that his mom might be taken away from him. His velociraptors give him comfort, and it's a comfort he wants to pass on to Jules to thank her for staying with him through the scary parts, and so he gives her Josh on her way out. Jules, in turn, offers Josh to Winston when she runs into him at the hospital and finds him stressed about presenting Nora Young's surgery to a room full of people. He, of course, turns her down since he's an adult and all, but still, he appreciates the thought. And we know this because that man can't keep his eyes off Jules as she walks away. Josh the Velociraptor knows what's up, and so do we. Jo Wilson finds herself dealing with two stubborn people, who both, as it turns out, have very good reasons for digging into their opinions. Link, still recovering from his near-death experience, is out of sorts because his mother is pushing him to get the twins baptized once they're born. Link isn't religious, and he doesn't want to baptize his kids into a religion. He doesn't believe in Scouts not baptized either. Jo doesn't mind the idea of getting the kids baptized, and in a surprise to everyone including Link and all of us in the audience, Jo is kind of religious. She's never once hinted at this before, but she seems adamant when she tells Link about a nearby Korean church she would go to for meals as a teenager and how she was jealous of the community people formed there. She tells him how she prayed when he was hurt, and it brought her comfort. It's all well and good, but does feel a little out of nowhere. Meanwhile, Link, just as confused as the rest of us, tells his wife about a church group who would visit him and the other kids in the cancer ward when he was young and make sure they knew God was watching over them. Even as a kid, Link questioned how this could be true if children were dying. And he certainly doesn't see God in what's happening in the world now with the planet burning and people starving. He hated it when that group came around. He also reminds Jo that there are other ways you can find your community. Alas, these two will have to table this discussion. Jo is dealing with a high-maintenance patient. Amy is in labor, and she refuses to change her birth plan, a vaginal birth with no medication, even when Jo discovers the baby is breech. Jo can attempt to turn the baby before delivery by performing an external cephalic version, but it's not guaranteed to work, and it's also painful without meds. Much like that baby Jo is trying to turn, Amy will not budge on her plan. There comes a point where there is nothing else Jo can do for Amy if she won't let her be her doctor and do what she thinks is best. Amy calls out for her husband, Kevin, only to reveal that Kevin died 3 months ago. Surely, Amy must feel like her life is out of her control, so being so strict about her birth plan, controlling this situation, makes a lot of sense. Amy tells Jo about her husband, and Jo reminds her that this baby is a part of him too. The reminder works, and Amy hands the reins over to her doctor. Jo delivers a healthy baby girl. Jo's time with Amy was a reminder that sometimes in life things are simply out of your control, and as she and Link head home, she is surprised to find that her water has broken. Stand by, folks. Jo-Link twins are imminent. In a fun behind-the-scenes tidbit, Grey's Anatomy actress Kate Burton, who plays Alice Grey, revealed she was Jodie Foster's landlord back when they were both at Yale. Foster's former landlord praised the actress for her extraordinary career while revealing their surprising connection. During a recent interview with People, Burton, 68, recalled that Foster, 62, once lived in one of her units in New Haven, Connecticut. She was my tenant at Yale. I was her landlord, because she was an undergraduate and I was a graduate student. Burton, who appears as Ellis Gray on the ABC medical drama, said of Foster. Foster found success as a child star and even earned a Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination for her role in the 1976 movie Taxi Driver. However, she took a break from Hollywood to further her education at Yale in 1980. The Hotel Artemis actress studied African American literature, and she graduated magna cum laude in 1985. While reflecting on Foster's talent, Burton told the outlet, "She was the most incredible child actor that has ever existed, and she's got an extraordinary career. She's a beacon to a lot of actors, and particularly child actors who know that there's a world out there for them." Burton continued of Foster's impact in the entertainment industry. Foster continued to pursue acting when she graduated from Yale, and she even won the Best Actress award at the Oscars for 1988's The Accused and 1991's The Silence of the Lambs. Additionally, she earned another nod in the category for the 1994 film No. Foster's critically acclaimed performances have continued over the years, with her being nominated for Best Supporting Actress for the 2024 film Nyad. Foster returned to Yale in April 2018 when she received the Yale Undergraduates Lifetime Achievement Award for her work as an actress, director, and producer. "Thank you so much for receiving me back in my hometown," she said while accepting her award, per Yale News. "This place means more to me than almost any place else. I came to Yale, and the second I walked on campus, it was like I had just found the love of my life." She continued her speech by reflecting on her fond memories of her time at the college. "Yale for me is lying on the floor of my dorm room, crying and crying and crying, but it's also going to one of the tops of those towers with beer in my hand going like, woo woo woo," she said. The darkness and the ecstaticness. That's part of this moment in time in your life, and that's what makes it so special. Foster went on to admit that she thought her acting career was over when she turned 18. But it is very telling, this feeling of failure, which seems to be a theme in my life. Even coming here, I felt like everybody else was smarter than me. I had to pretend that I knew what I was talking about," she said. "All of these other students just seemed so amazing. I think that if you don't have that feeling of being insignificant and wanting to be significant, you must not be significant. I think that pushes you to not be satisfied with who you are and pushes you to be the best person you can be." Thanks for watching this video. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. See you next time, Grey's fans.